Hi guys, welcome back. Today I wanted to film another casual video. It's gonna be a tag video, and it's a tag that's been going around a lot these last weeks, and it's the Boujee Booktuber tag, which was created by Olive. I will link her original video down below, and it's been really fascinating to listen to people talk about how they deal with spending money on books, how they see in different ways what quality a book should have and what is worth to pay money for. So I thought that was really fascinating. So I thought I would just do this tag today very casually. I just have the questions on my notebook, and it's gonna be one of these low maintenance, not much work, pretty much unedited videos, I hope at least. And I thought I would share with you what I think about these topics. So let's get started with the first question. What is your average monthly budget for books? So the thing is, I don't set myself a specific budget limit, but I am tracking how much I spend on books. So I have an Excel sheet where I write down every single book that I buy, where I get it from, and how much it costs, because it also permits me to see how long books stay on my shelves without me reading them. And it's kind of going through this Excel sheet is kind of a wake-up call, scrolling back and seeing, oh, you've had this book for a year, you should read it or get rid of it. So I do track it, and if I look at what I spend on average a month since I started this tracking, so since February 2018, it amounted to about between 40 and 50 euros per month for books. And I don't have another big main hobby except for board games, and there I spend more sporadically, I would say, and it's also bigger amounts. And I mean, usually my husband and I buy our games together. So it's not necessarily the same thing, but yeah, this is about what it amounts up to for me. And I think that's pretty okay when I see that, you know, people spend much more on their hobbies. I never use makeup. I don't spend much money on clothes. So I think I'm okay with what I'm spending. Question number 2, is what's the most you've ever spent in a bookstore? The thing is, I'm not really someone who goes into a bookstore and picks up something like completely on a whim. I almost never pick up books that I never heard anything about. And that's just me, because I like to be informed about what's out there and what I could potentially like. And I guess I'm very picky about which books could be for me, and I don't like spending money on books that might look like they're something for me, but I've never heard anything about them. I very rarely do that, so I need to at least know what it's roughly about, so I almost never go on a crazy shopping spree in a bookshop. I either go there because I want to pick up a specific book, or sometimes I just like to browse, and then I think, you know, you can get like 1 or 2 books, and that is usually what I coming out of a bookshop. So even if I buy 2 full-priced books out here in Germany, it wouldn't be higher than like 20 euros per trip to the bookstore, I would say. The only times where I buy a lot of books at the same time is if I buy secondhand, and they're so cheap that it probably won't amount to more than 20 euros either. So yeah, I'm definitely not a big spender in terms of like all in one go. Question number 3 is, are you willing to pay full price for a brand new release, or will you wait until you have a coupon or there's a sale? So the thing is, in France and in Germany at least, there is fixed retail prices on books. So there's never like a sale on books, which I think is okay. The thing is that because I'm so selective about the books I pick up to start with, I'm also really selective about which new releases that I really need to buy. So I very rarely buy books from day one. And another reason why I don't do that is because new releases come out in hardback, and I don't like reading in hardback. And probably this discussion will come up in another of these questions, but I'm really mad that hardbacks and paperbacks don't come out at the same time, but like this is another discussion. So I do probably wait for a longer time, but mostly because I want to learn more about the book, or I just don't want to read it in the middle of the hype. So I would wait, but I don't wait for a sale or something like that. I do wait maybe to get something secondhand. That's the maximum probably. Question number 4 is, would you rather buy one new book or several less expensive used copies? So I am all about secondhand books. I do realize that the author doesn't get anything from it, but the thing is, if there's an author I really want to support, I buy their books when they come out. For books I'm not sure about, or are really old, or classics that anyway you could get for free, I like to get them secondhand. So I would probably say get more books, but cheaper in terms of like secondhand. But yeah, again, it depends on the book. If it's a specific new release that I told myself I want to get it, I will get it. Question number 5 is, what do you think is a reasonable price for a new hardback, a paperback, or an ebook? So as I said, if I buy new, I buy because I want to support the author. And there is this great video by Britta that I will link down below. She responded to this tag and wanted to clear out some things about how much actually authors get for their work if you buy a copy of their book. And I recommend you go and watch this. And I must say, considering what authors get, I think I'm fine with the price of books how they are. I do realize that a hardback, it's different production costs than a paperback. The thing I am not okay with, however, is that you don't get the possibility to get a new release directly, either in hardback or in paperback, because paperback is way cheaper, and I think it just makes new releases in general less accessible to the general public, and I'm not okay with that. But in general, how the prices are, I kind of get where it's coming from. So, but then like subjectively, a new hardback over here would be something like 25 euros. And objectively, I'm not okay with spending as much money on a book. I am, however, okay with the price of paperbacks when they come out, which is anything between 8 euros and maybe 15 euros, depending on what kind of format it has, if it's a mass paperback and so on. Yeah. And as far as it goes for ebooks, I'm just not that big of an ebook reader. I pick up books on ebook when it's classics and they're for free. And that's about all that I would spend on ebooks, so €0. Also just completely subjectively, and because I just like physical copies more, and if they cost the same thing in paperback and in ebook, which they often do, it's something around 15 euros, I just prefer the physical copy of the book. Question 6 is a signed book worth more to you? What about a first edition? I only own one signed book, and I specifically requested that it got signed, and it was just a special treat for me. So it was just me saying, yeah, it is worth for me just for in that instance. But in general, I don't really care about signed things. It's just not my thing. I just don't see the value. I just want to get the content. I want to have access to the work. And I also see, or try at least most of the times, to see the work separated from the person who created it. And it's just, yeah. I mean, it's always interesting to learn about the people who write a book, but when I'm talking about the contents, or when I'm interested in the contents, that's what I'm interested in, and not specifically in the person. And I'm not one to go like all crazy if, you know, someone or the author touched this book and then whatever. That's just personally not my thing. That's all I have to say about this. And also first editions, couldn't care less, to be honest. It's about the content, nothing else. Question 7 is, what is your most valuable book, sentimental or actual value? I don't spend big amounts on specific books. I don't collect books. So probably the books that have the highest value to me are probably sentimental values. And I just have 2 examples to show you. My Nancy Drew collection in French that I accumulated over the years. These 2 are really, really old copies that I got when they cleared my school library at the time, and I just basically took all the Caroline Quine books that were on the shelves that I wanted to get rid of. So I had like, I don't know how many there were, probably more than 10 books like just at once that I got for free. And this really drew me into this whole detective stories and mysteries. So these all really mean a lot to me. They're still at home at my parents' house on a shelf, and I don't know, they're gonna stay there, I guess. I don't know, or I'll keep them and they'll have an extra shelf, I don't know. And the other one I wanted to show you guys is this box set of the Narnia books. They're in English, and I used to share all the 7 Narnia books with my sisters in French. So we subsequently got each book between the 3 of us. And when I was a teenager and I went to Dublin, I got this box set. Loved this trip and really remember getting these books for the first time, and it was the first time I read them in English. So yeah, this also really means a lot to me. All right, question 8. Will you pay more for a cover or edition you like better? The only instance where this has happened and is happening now, I guess, though I'm not doing it actively, is I want to start collecting the facsimile editions of the Agatha Christie books that I really like. And I have 2 so far. I forgot to bring them to film this video. I have 2 of them so far. I have Obviously and Then There Were None, and The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. I'll just put them here so you can see the really nice old school old covers. I just love the concept, and it's more something like to look nice on my shelves, and for me to get this feeling when I read an Agatha Christie book and when I go back to an old favorite, to have this immersion feeling of the time. But other than that, I'm not collecting specifically some specific editions, or I also very rarely look at if the cover is nicer in different countries' editions. That's not really my thing, to be honest. And also, in terms of the books that I read in different languages, I've just gotten really picky about reading the book in the original language if I can read in it. So even if there's a beautiful edition of some French book in English language, I'm not gonna get it in English. All right. Question number 9. What physical characteristics does a good quality book have? So as I said, I mostly read paperback books. So what's most important to me is that the paperback cover is not too thin so that it doesn't get bent really fast. But apart from that, I just need the font to be eligible. So probably best if it's a sans serif font, and also that the font is not too small, because as you can see, I don't have the best sight of the world. So that's about all I really need from a book to have good quality for me to read it. And the final question is, if you won the lottery, what bookish things would you do with the money? So I probably wouldn't spend the whole money on bookish stuff. I would probably buy also some really overpriced board games. But the thing that I would probably do that is really bookish is to get new bookcases, and probably custom made ones, because maybe you've noticed this, or maybe it's just me, but most of the bookcases you can buy, even though you can set the height of the shelves, the height that you get at the end doesn't make any sense. It's either like too high, it's either like this higher than a standard paperback or something, it's either this shorter so that a comic book can get in. I don't know who creates like the typical IKEA bookshelves. It doesn't make any sense. I always get really annoyed at this because you effectively lose space when you have like, let's say, a meter where you can fit books. If you would kind of be able to exactly set the heights you want, have one shelf for small paperbacks, one shelf for hardback or maxi size paperbacks, and then one shelf for comics, you could fit so many more books in there. So I would probably get myself some custom made bookshelves that can really maximize my space. That would be probably really great, but also really expensive, I can imagine. Anyway, so that's it for the questions. I really like the discussion about what as a booktube community we do with our money concerning our hobby. And I think it's also really great that Olive created this tag, because I think it's important to talk openly about these things. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna tag a few people that I guess I want to know what they would make of these questions. So I've just written a list of 6 people. I have Madelyn from MadeWithBooks, Sandra from Pull Down the Moon, Jenny from Bookish Shenanigans, Christine from The Other Christine That Reads, Elisabeth from the Bookish North, and Laurel Ann from Insert Book Pun Here. So if you guys want to do it, or anyone else who is watching this video, feel free to do it. Please link the video down below if you have filmed this tag already or are planning to. I pretty much want to watch all the versions of this tag I can find, because I think it's just really fascinating, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any other questions you can ask them down below in the comments. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this casual video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!